Welcome to the Refs Need Love 2 podcast, a show that gives you a real, raw, behind-the-scenes view of one of the hardest jobs on the pitch, the referee. I'm your host, David Gerson, a grassroots referee with over 7 years of experience and over 1,000 matches under my belt. You can find me at refsneedlove2.com and on TikTok. In today's episode, we'll be chatting with Nathan Mattick, the English FA's first ever certified wheelchair-based referee. Cerebral palsy has not kept him from being deeply involved with the game that he loves. He started reffing at 15, and he has been going at it now for over 9 years. This conversation was recorded on a TikTok live, so I apologize in advance for the relatively low audio quality. Enjoy. Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. It is Sunday morning here in England. We are going to be talking with Nathan Mattick, the English FA's first ever wheelchair-based certified referee. So he's going to be joining momentarily. I have to tell you, I've been wanting to talk to Nathan for probably, this be almost since I started this TikTok like 8 months ago. I think there's a lot of, just consternation and concern about becoming a referee. People wonder, can I do it? Should I do it? What's going to happen if I do it? I personally, I reffed last weekend for the first time in this season. It'd been like a month and a half off since I was doing grassroots games. And I have to tell you, I was nervous. I mean, the night before I was wondering, can I do this? Should I do this? Am I qualified to do this? And then, you step out on the pitch and you're like, yeah, this is what I do. This is what I love. And I think it's so interesting to be able to talk to, Nathan in particular, who's going to be joining us as soon as he gets on here, a wheelchair-based referee. I mean, that is amazing. I mean, you think about the challenges in life that someone goes through when they're confined to a wheelchair. And then, putting yourself in the position, I've got Nathan right here. I'm going to invite him to go live together. I just sent it. And so then putting yourself in the position that you're based to a wheelchair and then stepping out onto a football pitch, which is you're just like amping up, the potential, challenges that you might actually, expect. But just real briefly, I am a grassroots soccer referee here in the United States. I'm based in Atlanta, Georgia. I have been reffing for 7 years. And my friend Nathan Mattick has been a football referee in England. He was the first ever wheelchair-based football referee. Nathan, my gosh, man, can you tell everyone where exactly are you based, sir?
So I'm based in England. So I've lived in England all my life, and I was born here, and I absolutely love it. And I'm based in the West Country.
Very cool. And you are a massive football fan, but beyond being a referee like I am, you're also a supporter of a couple clubs. Do you want to tell people who you support?
Yeah, so I'm a big Chelsea fan. I'm a big Chelsea fan, and I have been for many, many years. I've loved football always since I was really young. My family got me into it. It's been amazing. And also, I also volunteer for a local club to me as well, and we do that on a volunteering basis. And so we had a game yesterday,
cool,
where I was doing them. I sell the match day programs, so
cool.
I do that, and then I'm able to watch the game afterwards. So yeah, it's really, really good.
Awesome, man. Well, why don't we talk briefly about you being a referee? First off, I know I get a lot of questions all the time about people who are like, oh, I'm worried about being a ref. Should I become a referee? What would you say to them?
Go for it, because anything could happen. So many doors could open for you. When I was told many years ago, or maybe you may not be able to referee because you're in a wheelchair, you have a disability. And I was like, well, I can still give it a go. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But when I was about 7, 8 years old, I wanted to make sure that I've loved football, and I've always wanted to make sure I'll be part of that sort of game. And then when I was watching football with my dad one day, and I noticed the role of the match officials then, basically. And then I thought, oh, this could be something I could get involved in, which I thought this would be a great opportunity. But at the time, because of my age, I couldn't do it. So here in England, you have to be a certain age to qualify. And at the time, obviously, I wasn't able to. So over the years, when I was at school, I was given a whistle by the sports department. and I was able to referee some games with my friends during break and lunchtime, which gave me the experience we like. And then I was given the opportunity to referee some games during like we have games lessons when I was at school. And soccer, and then that gave me a bit more experience on what it was like to officiate. To be honest, I was a little bit hesitant, if that makes sense, because
of course
I didn't know what it would be like, but then I absolutely loved it. And then I thought, oh, maybe I could become a referee and qualify. So at during the school time, and I was probably about 16 at the time, but it didn't work out, unfortunately, just because of so many different things. And then I left school, and then I went to college, and I went to study sports at college for 3 years. So I did loads of things there. It was mainly sports science, I think it was. And then I said to the sports department, this is my dream. I want to become a referee. And we discussed the situation of where the difficulties may come into play, because obviously due to the disability and all that, where I probably wouldn't be able to referee 11-a-side games, which I totally understood. And then I emailed and tried to get in contact with people to see if they could help me. And I didn't get any response, unfortunately. So I went back to the sports department and said, is there any way you can help me with it? And then they decided they would contact for me. And then the due in, I think it was March 2013. So it'll be 10 years next year.
Wow. Oh my gosh, 10 years. How many matches do you think you've reffed over your 10 years, if you were just going to give a round number?
Oh, good question. Because I do it on a tournament-based day, so I referee games in a day. So it could be between, in the last, I'd say up to probably about 100, 200 maybe. But of course, they're not obviously 90-minute games. They can last between 5 to 20 minutes, depending on the actual, the league and all that. So it's been the best decision of my life. And I'll never forget it, because like I say, everyone has, things to, want to do things. And that was one of my goals in life. And I'm so grateful and thankful for all people that has supported me and got me into the game, because it changed my life forever in the best possible way, because it's helped me communication skills. It's got me into the game that I love. It's also given me the opportunity to be myself, if that makes sense, because given me the opportunity to do something that I really enjoy. So I want to say thank you to you as well, David, for all the support that you've given me over the last, I don't know how long we've been following each other on TikTok, but I've just wanted to share my story through TikTok, because I think lots of people should be able to share what's going on in their lives. And I think having the opportunity to do it has been great. And I can't wait for my season to start, which should start in September.
Oh, it's awesome. Well, I will say one of the nice things, for the people who are joining our call, is that when you do become a referee, you instantly become a part of a global community. One of the things that's wonderful about the game of football is it is a global game. It brings people together from all walks of life and all backgrounds. And I have to tell you, every day when I step onto the pitch, and today I've got 3 more games this afternoon, I'm going to go out there. I don't know 2 of the gentlemen I'll be reffing with in the first couple games, but as soon as I meet them, we're going to be fast friends. We're going to be partners. We have a shared experience together. We're on the same team. We're the third team that's on the pitch. You have 2 teams competing against each other, and then you've got the referees who are a crew and a team. So instantly you become friends. And so I've personally developed a massive network, now through this TikTok around the world. But even before that, all of these wonderful people in my community who I've connected with through a love of the game and a love of the laws of the game, and making sure that they're properly applied, which I think is fantastic. I have a couple more questions for you, Nathan. Just again, I think there's people get real nervous about becoming a referee, because they recognize that there's a lot of people who, don't like the referee, or want to, throw negative comments at the referee, or potentially try and physically intimidate. Where do you find the courage? Like inside you, where do you find the courage to go out and be a ref on a weekly basis?
Good question. So I love the sport, and I've always loved refereeing. So anytime I get able to go and officiate a match, I'm like, this is going to be an amazing day. I always have a positive mindset. make sure that if I have a positive mindset, then I go to that game having, making sure that game is always going to be in the best possible way. Because I don't work with assistant referees, so I'm the only person that sees everything, which I think, it can be challenging. But from my point of view, I think everything is just and for me, if I have a situation where I'm a bit uncomfortable, or I'm a bit, after a game or a match I've just officiated, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, I've made a mistake. I'm like, okay, I've made a mistake, but make sure I don't do that again, and just learn from the mistake that I made. Or and the main thing is always have those people, a core group or something that's you're confident able to speak to people and ask them for advice. And I think that's the important thing. Because when I first refereed my first game back in, I think it was 2014, even though I qualified in 20. I remember particularly I had a game where, for some reason, I made an absolute error of judgment, and I gave a penalty, which was a penalty. But I was like, okay, I'll learn from that. And I had like a mentor, if that makes sense, on the just so we could share the pitch. Especially with an electric wheelchair, I have to be careful of the battery power, also how much charge I've got in the chair. So sometimes I, share the pitch, and then I do one game and then somebody else does another. But for me, every time I get appointed to a game, or I'm going to referee a tournament, because every game I do is a tournament-based day.
Yeah.
Three pitches going on, games going on at the same time on three different pitches. So I'm making sure that I always have that positive mindset to make sure it's great for everybody.
That's awesome. But just, I think it's so important when you show up to the pitch as a referee that you're going out there with a positive attitude, that you're building rapport with the players during the warm-up, with the coaches. I'm always going over like, hey, coach, just, we're playing 35s today. It's a 5-minute halftime, unlimited subs, whatever it is, going over the rules of the game, just making sure that we have a dialogue. They send some positivity, out of me. And when I'm on the pitch too, I am in love with the game of soccer, football, whatever you want to call it. I'm in love with it. And I want the players to see that too, that I'm working hard, that I'm passionate about it, that I care about it. I'm willing to explain the rules to people too. But having that right mindset, I think is, 80% of being a good referee. I mean, knowing the laws of the game, really important, certainly, but man, the right mindset and being able to manage a game is so critical. So I guess, Nathan, do you have any questions for me, sir?
Well, yeah, I do actually. I wanted to know a little bit about how you got into refereeing yourself. That's right, because I think you've probably posted a few things on TikTok, and I think it'd be great to hear about your story too.
Yeah, no, definitely. So for me personally, I've always been the kind of person who wants to be the one responsible for a situation. Whether I was in, student government in junior high school, youth organizations, I'm a glutton for punishment. Like I always want the responsibility to be on me. When I was in college, I was a rugby player. And by my second year of university, I was the president of the rugby team. And let me tell you, if you've ever been around a rugby team, especially, it is a crazy group of guys or girls. So having to be responsible for that team and having to potentially justify their actions to the dean of the school or other authorities, it can be a difficult situation, or getting them to an away game. It's not easy, but I like being that person responsible. So I actually, in my senior year of university, I became a rugby referee, just because I like being that person who knows the laws and responsible for the game. But then after a couple of years, and I stopped playing rugby. I couldn't show up to work with a black eye anymore. I then I got married, had kids, and I started coaching my kids. And they played soccer, they played football. So I kind of fell in love with the game. Then we moved to Europe. So I was in love with the game as a coach, but really we moved to Europe and we lived in the Netherlands. And there in U10 and even U12, so they don't have an official sign to many of the games. My kid was playing recreational; it wasn't high academy. They had parents step in and ref the games, and so even though I didn't speak Dutch, I started refing over there, and I really liked it. When we got back to the United States, at that time in the U.S., you could become a referee at 10 years old, and my son Jacob, also kind of that person who wants the responsibility on him and wanted to start earning some money, wanted to be a ref. So at 10 years old, he got certified. 40 years old, I got certified. If you look on my TikTok, you can see the first video yesterday I posted. We went to the exact same field that we refed our first game on 7 years ago. And yesterday we were roughing there. I'll be back there on that field again today. And we took kind of a, staged a picture at the exact same location. So I got into it because, he wanted to do it. And if I was going to drive him to a game and have to wait for him at the fields, I was like, I might as well be getting paid to do it too. And I fell hardcore in love. I don't follow basketball. I don't follow baseball. I don't follow hockey. I am all about football. I watch it all the time, every chance I get. And I love the laws of the game. I love understanding, how they were created, everything. But that's why, Nathan, that's why I got into it. It started with, just kind of a love of the game, and I liked it from coaching. But then when my son was going to be reffing, I decided I would do it too. And man, it's been the greatest decision I think I've done in my life. This is my hobby. It is my love. It is my thing. And I enjoy every minute of it. The mental challenge, the physical challenge. Every time I have an opportunity, it brings a great deal of joy for me.
It's a great story because it's exactly what I was getting involved into it, really, in a sense, because we love the game and we want to be part of the game we love. And you were saying a bit about your rugby refereeing. How long rugby referee for?
Just 3 years. So I did it my senior year of university, and then I did it for 2 years men's league after that, which is a very different environment as a rugby referee. Rugby, everyone's much more respectful. It still can be a pretty crazy, intense game, as you can imagine, but the dialogue with the players is very different. But I mean, again, I was hardcore in love with rugby, which in America, again, rugby is not one of the top, 8 spectator sports. It's certainly not on TV very often. It's kind of a counterculture thing, if you will. And I loved that. And so, soccer is, kind of was counterculture 20, 30 years ago. Now it is the number one watch sport for people between 18 and 34. So the next generation of Americans are going to be crazy soccer fans. Already, the amount of people who are playing and watching soccer in America on a weekly basis is as much, if not more, than the people who are in England playing and watching soccer on a weekly basis, if you could believe it. Now, we have 330 million people to the 60 million people that are in the UK. But again, it's really becoming a big sport here. All right, Nathan, we're kind of running to the end of time, man. I just want to say to you, Nathan, in particular, I am so inspired by your story. I honestly, I think it's fantastic. I think there's all sorts of ways for people to find a way to give back to the game. I mean, you and I have chosen the path of being officials, being referees, on the pitch. But, you mentioned that you volunteer at your club, handing out, match day programs or selling match day programs. Yesterday I was at the field. There's field administrators who are, helping to support the referees and making sure all the games are going off well during the tournament. There's ways to support your local team and be a positive, impact on the game that we love. And I want to encourage everyone out there, no matter what your decision is, if you're going to be a player, if you're going to be, a volunteer, if you're going to be a referee, if you're going to be a coach, to stay involved in the game. Because I think there's so many wonderful things that happen when you're, a part of the game of football. Again, you learn teamwork, you learn communication, you learn hard work, there's strategy. And I just think it's absolutely fabulous. So Nathan, I've so enjoyed getting to know you, and I hope in the future, if I come over to England, we can get together and hang out. That would be wonderful.
Absolutely, and thank you for having me on your live this afternoon in England. Obviously, it's the morning where you are. It's been a pleasure to talk to you because it's been great to get to know you and to be able to talk about refereeing and football and soccer. And I wish you all the best this afternoon where you have your games this afternoon. I look forward to hearing how all they went this afternoon for you.
Excellent, man. Thank you. And thank you, everyone who dialed in for the live. Nathan, I'm sure we'll chat again soon, man.
Absolutely. Take care of yourself. Bye for now.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.
I sincerely hope you enjoyed that conversation with Nathan Mattick, the English FA's first ever certified wheelchair-based referee. Let me tell you, when I get a little bit down or I'm a little concerned about my fitness or my ability to get in the middle of the pitch, I think about Nathan and he inspires me. I'm so happy that I've gotten to know him through this TikTok and this brand of Refs Need Love Too. I tell you, if anyone, deserves some love, it is that guy, and some respect. What a quality young man. I'm so delighted that I get to call him a friend, and I'm thrilled that I was able to share his story with you. Have a wonderful day, and may your next games be red card free.